guys, my name is Jess and I'm here to do a Friday reads for you guys. I thought maybe that could be my second video showing you what I'm currently reading. I have a massive stack of books beside me to show you because I read a lot of books at once, and I thought I would just also show you that Harley is here. She got a little love on her on her last video, so I thought I'd mention she's here. I have another Cavalier as well. His name is Charlie, but he's always sleeping. You'll hear him snoring. He's over in the corner. If he wanders through at any point during one of my videos, I'll show you guys, but he's a very lazy dog, whereas I'm just always harassed by Harley, so she'll always be here. Yeah, so I'll talk you through all the books I'm reading. I read a lot of books at once because I don't know why. I get a bit bored and switch books a lot. It's not often I will sit and read one book all the way through. I'll switch around a lot, particularly each day. So I might focus on one book one day, then feel like another book the next day. Lots of people who aren't in the bookish world say, oh my God, how do you read so many books at once? Don't you get confused? And the answer is yes and no. So I don't get confused at the time because, like when you're watching a TV show, you don't confuse all the TV shows you're watching, even if you're not finished one. But also, I think afterwards I get a lot, like I can't ever really remember what every book, every detail is about anymore like I used to. But I think that's more to do with the quantity of books rather than reading them all at once. Because I read so many, I find it difficult to remember what book is what a year ago or so. But yeah, anyway, that's what I do. I read a lot of books at once, usually around 7. I know that sounds crazy, but always one will just hang around for months and months and months. One that's hung around for months and months and months since January is War and Peace. I started doing a book reading challenge. There was a big book group doing War and Peace 2019 in January. We had checkpoints. I made it to the Feb checkpoint easy, and then to get to the March checkpoint, obviously you can see I'm still not at the March checkpoint, and it is August. I tabbed it up a lot, but this is the first ever time I've tabbed a book as well, so it was interesting. That was an interesting experience, but I think with War and Peace, it's just difficult. It's just tedious, particularly this translation. This is the vintage classic one, and it's translated by Richard Pever and Larissa Volonkowski. I think, if I pronounce that correctly, but I think this translation isn't for me. I switched, the last 100 pages I read, I switched to my library app and read a book there, and read this book there, and the translation was much better. So if you don't know what War and Peace is about, it's set in the Napoleonic Wars, it's written from the Russian perspective. It switches back between wartime and peacetime, so wartime, like the battlefronts, and then the peacetime back in Russia. I really like the peace aspects of the book, not so big on the war aspects of the book. I like the Russian society, I like who's marrying who, that sort of thing. That's nice, but yeah, it's still a very slow burn, so I'm battling through that one. Another book I haven't finished, and I should have, is The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje. This book was for the reading rush. I was reading this for the reading rush. I only finished 4 books instead of 7 that week, but this was my book to movie adaptation one. I really enjoyed it so far. I'm here, but obviously I haven't picked it up since the reading rush, since I didn't complete the challenge, so I do need to pick this up again, but it's really good so far. So far I'm just in I can't even remember where we are in the world, but we are with a patient that has burns all over his body, and with the nurse that stayed behind with him, and she's got she seems to have a lot of problems, and yeah, so I'm not explaining this very well, but I am enjoying it so far. Another book that I have been reading this week. So this week I've had so many uni assignments, just so much stress happening in my life with moving and wedding and crazy. So I just wanted something light and just nice. And so I picked up While You Were Reading by Ali Berg and Michelle Cullis. This is the duo that do the Books on the Rail. So Books on the Rail is it's like a charity kind of, I guess, where they just put books on like our Melbourne rail system. I know they're Australia-wide now, people are dropping books everywhere. My goal is to one day find one. They always put it on my tram to uni, and I always see the post being like, it's on the 50, I think it's 57 tram in Melbourne, and I'm like, oh my God, and I never find one. But yeah, this is by them. They kindly sent this to me as well, published by Simon & Schuster. And this book is so good for what I want it for, which is escape. So it does all those classic things I don't really love in romances. I usually find this in romances, but sorry, Harley's just running around. But yeah, you know that overriding thing, so there's no nuance to the writing, so it'll say she shrugged, and it'll actually say, as if to say, you know me, like that type of thing. So there's a lot of that in here, but also like the writing is great. It's just that sometimes that annoys me. It was fine this week, like I didn't want to think. So what's good about this is it's about books. So she's a massive book lover. It references books all the time in it. She finds a book and it's got inscriptions and she's trying to find the person who wrote it. It's really good. I'm about 100 pages in and I'm really enjoying it so far. A lot of convenient plot things are happening, but it's fine. It's easy. It's fun. So I am enjoying that. Another arc I got. So at the moment I'm doing Arc August, which I'm trying to get my TBR pile of arcs and requested books down in August so I can go back into my backlist and start reading some backlist stuff as well, because I feel like I buy, and not even backlist, I buy books from this year and I can't read them because I've requested 1,000 books. I request books because I have a very small Instagram account. I'll link it down below, and sometimes publishers send me the books that I request, but I really need to stop doing it because I can't read any of the books that I own. I feel bad reading any of my own books because I need to read these books I've requested. So anyway, that being said, an arc that I am reading this month, which I'm actually pretty excited about, is Parrish Savages. This is by Katherine Johnson. This is published by Ventura Press. They're amazing. They were the first publishing house to ever reach out to me and give me a review copy to review on my Instagram, linked below, and I soft spot in my heart for them. I love it, and I loved that book too. Anyway, this book is their big release of the year. This is Parrish Savages, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I am nearly finished. I'm in part 3, and it's really good. I will say it's not very narrative heavy, so there's not a lot of story. It's more trying to tell you something. So I think this was submitted. I think I was reading this as potentially submitted for her thesis or her PhD. It looks into 3 Aboriginal Australians who were taken in, I think it was 1878 or 1876, around there. They were taken from Fraser Island and paraded. At the moment, they're being paraded in Germany, I think. Germany. Yeah, and so it's almost like a P.T. Barnum, I think his name is, you know, like that type of freak show, but it's like natural. It's trying to showcase them in their natural habitat, the things they can do, but like there's this undercurrent of racism, and it's really interesting, and there are story elements. There's definitely a narrative to be told here, which Katherine Johnson does particularly well because she doesn't ever actually take the perspective of the Aboriginal people because she's not Aboriginal herself, which I think is really cool. So she tells the story from Hilda's perspective, which is a young girl who was with the Aboriginal tribe at the time on Fraser Island. Has been living on the island with her father, studying the Aboriginal people who live on that island and the community there, and they take 3 of them back to Germany with them. And so Katherine Johnson takes Hilda's perspective pretty much the whole time. But there are these intervening chapters when Hilda's not with them that she uses like a ghost spirit to explain what could potentially have been happening, if that makes sense. So that she never actually takes this perspective of an Aboriginal person, pretends that she knows how they were feeling or what was happening. Or I just find that really cool. So yeah, not a lot of narrative, not narrative heavy, quite a really slow burning book, but very good. I'm enjoying it a lot. Another book I've recently just picked up, I have the audiobook for this, is Madame Foucault's Secret War by Lynn Olson. This is a non-fiction book and it is so cool. This is based around World War II. Madame Foucault was run an underground, like an espionage team. So she was essentially like a spy, and she spied on the Nazis in France. Foucault, Marie. Yeah, really excited about this. This was kindly sent to me by Scribe, which Thank you, Scribe. I requested it from them. So another book I'm currently listening to and reading is Firestarter by Stephen King. I wanted to read this book before The Institute comes out next month because there's these rumors flying around that Charlie, the main character in this, might be in The Institute. So I needed to read this first, obviously. I'm about halfway through and it's good. I like it. I don't know if I love it yet, and that's not a good sign since it's Stephen King endings that I often sometimes butt heads with, and I usually love the start. So I am liking it though. The powers that they have. So it's about a daughter and father who are on the run from the government. The daughter is a fire starter. She has pyrokinesis and telekinesis, and the dad has this amazing power. It's called the push. So he can push people into doing whatever he wants through his mind. So that he can push someone into thinking they're blind, or he can push someone into thinking he's handed them $100 bill when it was a $1 bill. Like things like that. So I think that's a really cool power, which I found really interesting. But yeah, the story so far, they're just on the run. I don't know. I don't know whether I haven't got to an interesting part yet, but we've kind of gone into their backstory of how they got the powers, that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I am enjoying it. It is good. So yeah, Firestarter by Stephen King. And then another book that I haven't picked up for about 2 months, not because I didn't like it, but because I liked it too much, if that makes sense. So maybe it will in a second. So I'm talking about Children of Ruin by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is the second book to Children of Time. I'm assuming we're getting a third book as well. I'm hoping we're getting a third book as well. But this just came out. Pam McMillan kindly sent this to me as well, which is amazing. But I don't want this to end. I don't want to finish it. I'm not even that far in. I can't. It's so good. I don't want to tell you too much because it's the second book, but Children of Time is set in space. It is humanity. It's a small portion of humanity in space. They're sort of cut off. They're trying to find a world to live on, essentially. That's essentially the plot. There is this terraforming project that humanity took place in that they know about, and it's really cool because humanity advanced so far in the first book and then lost everything. And these people are actually like newer and grew up on spaceships, but they don't have the technology that the original humanity had. Like that was all lost. So originally I don't know if this is making sense, but originally in the books when humanity left the planet to go make more planets to live on, they had all this technology to make planets to live on. And these people who are newer, so then we follow a timeline that is newer, don't have any of that technology. They don't even speak the same language as the original people from Earth. I don't know. It's just really cool. So this is the second book. There is some there's some crossover characters, so I don't want to ruin anything, but amazing. Sci-fi, like this is amazing science fiction. Like it's so good. So I highly, highly, highly recommend Children of Time and then picking up Children of Ruin. So yep, that's my Friday reads for today. I hope that was good for you. As if not, I'm sorry. I know this is low grade quality. I'll try and pick up the quality if I continue to do this, but I just wanted to sit down and see if I like doing this first. I do like talking about books, so it's going well so far. I will do a booktuber newbie tag. That'll probably be my next video, probably next Wednesday. But yeah, until then, I will talk to you on Instagram. Come see me. Bye.